Gold Coast Stadium at Carrara, the Kangaroos 73 leading Carlton 60. The Kangaroos kicking the first 5 goals of quarter number 3. The Blues responding with the next 4, including 3 to Brendan Favola, who has 6 to three-quarter time. Brad Fisher with 1 as well, and it has ensured that the game is very much alive. The winner to take on the Brisbane Lions in the grand final next Saturday night. If the Kangaroos win, it will be the Kangaroos against Brisbane at the Kangaroos home ground. Which one that will be, we're not sure. We assume the Telstra Dome in Melbourne. While the Blues, if they win, would have to kick 4 goals in the last quarter to get by the Brisbane Lions. As we head down to Liam Pickering, who's got the coach of the Roos with him. Liam.
Dean, a great start to the third quarter, but the Blues just got on top in the clearances, especially in the second half of that quarter.
Yeah, look, you know, they got their hand on the footy at the centre bounces, and they, you know, whilst out there a couple of times. So we just we put Hamish back into the ruck. You know, he was very good for us in the first half of the third quarter. So let's hope we can get a good start for us.
And plenty of rotations, and no problems there with the fitness.
Yeah, no fitness injury or injury troubles. So we just have to keep rotating.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for that, Liam Pickering, with Kangaroos coach Dean Laidley. On our Fox Sports AFL semi-final coverage around Australia. Favola with 6 goals. Who will be the hero here in the final stanza? '73 playing 60. Kangaroos by 13 points. Cameron Cloak and the Blues heading to the right of screen. McIntosh and the Roos to the left. Off we go for the final term. First goal so important. Simpson's handball snared by Betts. Bentic with a rainmaker to half forward. Fisher in a wrestle with Gibson. Pratt, well, risky handball. Waite knocks it over. Boundary throw-in. Leading ball winners, Houlihan for the Blues with 23 touches, Stevens 21. Simpson with 26 possession, half of them 13 contested ball won by Adam Simpson. Sinclair with 19 disposals as Betts feeds Bentic. Can he get it to Murphy? He can. What a start to the final term as Murphy drives it through. Carlton have got the last 5 and the margin is 7 points.
And what a turnaround after the Kangaroos kicking 7 unanswered goals. The Blues have bounced back with 5 of their own, and Murphy just his polish on the end of the ball there. Who's going to stand up in the last 20 minutes of this quarter is going to be the big question. But a great start, important start for the Blues.
Murphy with his second. Dennis Pagan could not have scripted it any better than that.
And Andrew Walker now at full back against Shannon Grant. They've gone pretty small now, the Kangaroos, in comparison to the way they started, and it's unsettled the Blues forward line, the back line, and we see Jared Waite also going forward.
Harris brings Murphy down, wins the free, kicks over the head of Archer. Russell is there for Carlton, feeds Scotland. Goes to the wing for Murphy again. Quickly to the Favola direction. Frito wearing him tightly. Watt cleaning up, backs himself. Over the top for Sainsbury. Gibson in support. Down the centre corridor he runs. Goes long to centre half forward. Thomas had 2 to beat. O'Halpin looks upfield. Goes towards Gibbs. Sainsbury against him. Gibbs does well. Doesn't give away a free. Draws heavy traffic.
Did well.
Feeds it off to Simpson. 60 out and closing. Into the pocket. Well, over the head there of Ackland. And now Ferrito uses Watt, back to Ferrito. Kangaroos running it out with hand passes. And again, Gibson to Wells. Out wide, Trotter. Goes along, Archer is the target. Thornton to beat. Grant leading out. He was the hero in the second quarter. Hurries a snap across the face of goal, and a lunging Thomas could not get there in time.
Good ball movement from the North Melbourne players, or the Kangaroos players, coming through the midfield, but just not enough intense chasing out of the forward line for the Blues. And that's the key. Forwards must chase, put enormous pressure on.
Lance Whitnell taking a break Had just the 6 touches last week, 5 this week. Early in the last quarter for the new skipper. Houlihan for Cloak.
That's good work by Houlihan.
And bang, thumping kick. Gibbs, what can he do? Caught by Sainsbury. Good run, the Kangaroos. Sinclair back for Sainsbury.
Yeah, mate.
Nice ball for Wells.
Been good, Sainsbury. 13 touches, most of them high quality.
Play on.
Ferrito gets around Simpson, closes to 60. Toe pokes it to full forward. Lappin shins it up towards centre half back. Swallow and Trotter there for the Roos, a bounce. Liam.
Brendan Favola's opponent, Michael Ferrito, is really making a conscious effort to push up the ground and drag Favola away from deep in the goal square, and it's really working okay at the moment.
Wells couldn't get the hand pass out. Archer for Simpson. Body's on the line now. Stevens trying to get away and does neatly for Thornton, and he's got Murphy on the wing. Goes quickly for Betts. Murphy keeps on running.
He's improved out of side, Eddie.
Favola couldn't get there. Gibson does well. Carlton running onto it on the wing. Simpson from the other side. Good tackle. White. They're playing with some confidence now, Carlton.
Let it go.
That hurried kick in the Ferrito direction. Fisher did well to get to the contest. Opens the door for Ackland. The ruckman tumbles up to Betts. And Eddie can make it a 1-point game.
He's cramped up as well, Eddie. He's covered a fair amount of that forward half tonight with not a lot of time on the bench. And a fortunate kick that's hit him on the chest. And these are difficult situations. You know, when you're coming in, the calves are starting to cramp. And if it cramps in the kicking action, you're in all sorts of strife.
Sounds like you're speaking from experience, Lynchy.
Yeah, well, I didn't quite cover as much territory as Eddie Betts, but I used to cramp a fair bit.
Important kick. We've got a 1-point game. Carlton with 6 unanswered goals.
Alistair, if you're Dean Laidley, where do you go? What do you do?
You've got to tighten up in the midfield. The Carlton team have certainly started to dominate in the clearances or turn things around from early in that third quarter. But just arrest the flow in the midfield is where you've got to focus. Probably lock onto a few players. Everyone's going their own separate ways here.
It's only the pre-season, but this match means so much for these two clubs. It's about hope and perhaps selling memberships and building that winning spirit. A gripping final 13 minutes awaits. Lappin emerges, goes deep inside the 50. Favola wins the free. Now Betts, not given the advantage. It will come back to Fev to try and put Carlton in front with his 7th goal.
Jeez, he did that well. He did that incredibly well.
He did do that well, and you see in some ruck contests that can sometimes be paid as a free kick, but obviously that was a in-the-pack decision. Once you leave the ground and jump into your opponent's back and don't touch the ball, you're almost certainly going to give away a free kick.
Ball's in pretty safe hands. Matthew Lappin in that sweeping roll across that half-back line. He had to avoid a couple, but he hit it to the dangerous spot, and Favola honoured it.
Carlton with 37 points behind midway in the third quarter. They are now in front, and Favola has 7. It is sterling stuff.
Brendan Favola's got to be up there in the best drop punts I've ever seen.
I haven't seen a player that can kick consistently from outside 50 so straight in my time in football. He's a beautiful kick for goal. You'd rather have him at 55 rather than at 35 metres out.
Gary Ablett was a huge drop punt.
It's not quite his millennium game, Paul, just yet.
Only early.
But 7 is so far enough for Favola and the Blues, who have kicked the last 7 goals of this match. to take the lead again. Simpson. And now a big test for the Kangaroos. Here's Sinclair going to full forward. Having it knocked away was the leading Thompson.
It's not
Walker.
a great kick.
Although Trotter can't mark, recovers adeptly.
He did well there, Trotter, really well.
Oh, close to being out. Campbell given the benefit. Kicks across the face. Thornton. Now Houlihan. Wide ball for Simpson, and he can go.
Cloak's running forward now, free.
He uses him. And again back to the running Simpson. Good stuff. Direct penetrating kick. Under pressure, Petrie diving on it. He may have staved off a Carlton goal as Gibson to McIntosh and Swallow, and the Kangaroos
Kick.
on the counter-attack, finding Lee Brown. Roosts it long, giving Thompson a one-out chance. Oh, Halpin not to be denied. Scotland at half-back.
You can see Petrie now in defence. There was no spot for him in attack because it played into Carlton's hands.
Simpson inside the 50, Fisher.
I think Gibson may have just lost contact with Fisher, who's certainly the closest player there at one stage, and
That's your line, Mark.
good movement. The lateral lead often is the one hard to mark, and he's just found space, and we get a reasonably easy shot on goal. But Cameron Cloak has actually, since he's come back on the ground, has started to get his hand on the ball in the middle of the ground and help with the clearance situation for Carlton.
Brad Fisher's kick, close, across the face. The margin is one straight regulation goal.
It's an extraordinary game when you consider the Kangaroos kick. Was it 7 in a row, Clinton?
Kangaroos, yep, throughout the last 3 of the second term, then the first 5, Jared, so 8 in a row. First 5 of the third quarter.
And now the Blues have kicked 7 consecutive goals.
Yep.
Well, that was the hands in the back there. But what a difference it does make to have someone that can mark the ball and kick a goal from outside 50. I mean, for a lot of forwards, they weren't goals. They weren't even scoring shots. But Favola has been outstanding on his conversion.
Cloak. 10 minutes to go. Packed forms half forward for the Blues. Flyers required. Kangaroos waiting down Sainsbury. Simpson in the wings. Look out, Harris. Caught. Harvey needs to be quick. Carlton have lifted. White down the line. Kick. Precise.
You're right behind that one, Alistair. That was brilliant.
Almost had a little draw on it just to keep it inside the boundary line. It was a beautiful disposal.
And Nick Stevens giving us the indication he's got some confidence from this range.
And the breeze is coming over his left shoulder towards the goal, so it will help.
Got that.
What a goal by Nick Stevens! They can do no wrong now.
Now you've got full forwards kicking from 55 metres, beautiful goals, and now your star midfielder is kicking them from outside the boundary line. So it's going to be very hard for the Roos to stop this, but I think you've just got to man up in the midfield. The uncontested clearances are going Carlton's way too easy. Must man up, must have a starting point.
And with that Stevens goal, the Blues have gone past the Brisbane Lions for goals kicked in the NAB Cup competition. So the winner of this match will host the final next week.
Cloak again.
That was a magnificent tap.
And he was getting jumped over in the first half. Now he's found some extra spring.
It's pretty ironic that Chris Bryant from Carlton has gone to Collingwood and Cloak's
Gone from Collingwood to Carlton. Gibson with the Kangaroos trailing by 12 points, a downfield free. They were 37 in front entering time on of the third quarter. They're 12 behind. They've got 8 minutes 43 to rectify that.
Well, Clinton, it's a really disappointing crowd because we've got a fantastic exhibition of Australian rules footy here. And I think everybody involved would be disappointed with the turnout.
7,228, and a lot of them travelling Carlton supporters. We saw them in vast numbers in Launceston last week in a terrific match which drew more than 15,000.
Kangaroos need the brilliance of Daniel Wells right now. They've taken Shannon Grant off for a bit of a rest. but they need to find somebody to spark a goal.
Moran with the hit out, but Carlton, in terms of the clearances, have been 20-7 since half-time. A bounce.
Good on, boys. Thank you,
And
Craig.
Lachlan Hansen has been given a run.
Eyes up, 19.
Hasn't done a lot
No.
this evening. Thomas kicking to full forward. That was Hansen giving away a free kick. No goal. 50 against. The drag down. The arms went out in the air from Walker. Brown heard the whistle, reacted instinctively, and gets penalised.
You reckon Lee Brown knew it was a free kick against the Kangaroos, Lynchy?
I reckon he had a reasonable idea. I reckon he did. Some days you just know. He might have known there.
Walker long to a contest. Dangerous handball, didn't reach Petrie. Betts was brilliant. And it's in the back. And coming back to the Blues, and Eddie Betts can try and drive a 3-goal wedge between the two teams. Waite looking more like Sam Solomon than a Carlton player.
He's been good. I mean, we see the close-up of him there, the size of him these days. And he's going to be a find across half-back. He no doubt through the forward line throughout the year.
He will come off through the blood rule. We'll check in with Liam Pickering at ground level.
Well, he's been terrific all day, Jared Waite. He started at half-back, as we know. Dennis Pagan's loaded up his forward line in this last quarter. He's been pretty dangerous too, Jared Waite. It'd be a bit of a miss, bit of a loss for the Blues, but I reckon, look, Kangaroos, they should still have some run left in their legs. They've rotated all night, so I wouldn't be writing the Kangas off yet, but they just need to find some spark.
Speaking of sparks, Blues fans love the young man in the number 19 jumper. Betts kicks his second. He's excited, and why not? They've had a great 6 weeks at Carlton after a horrible 3 or 4 months, and they could well be on their way to the grand final.
Well, if he keeps this form up, the AFL may have another Eddie.
Can we handle 2, Jared?
Exciting stuff from the Blues. It's just incredible to think that the Kangaroos have just dropped off so badly. So impressive through the middle half, and nothing in this last quarter.
It's been 9 goals in a row now.
That is amazing, following 8 goals in a row for the Kangaroos. It's baffling.
And we've got a blood rule here.
Daniel
Harris is sent from the field. And the blood rule over the years has been tightened up a little bit. The grazers, you supposedly don't have to come off the ground these days, but if there's some flowing blood, that's when the umpires will direct you to go and get it cleaned up. And you have no choice. You can't just wipe it away and say it's fixed now. You have to leave the ground.
Jared, I promise viewers your top 8. West Coast, Fremantle, Sydney, Adelaide, they're all in.
I got to admit, Clinton, I haven't given it a lot of consideration.
Giving you 3 weeks' notice, and you let me down. Try and get to Lynchy after the game if he'll play. Bentic, handball out for Scotland. Look at the run, Carlton players. First to the ball from every direction. Good tackle. No, bad tackle against Petrie.
Well, more to the point, late tackle. And there's another one the AFL will jump all over, just to slam him into the ground. Not that that was too hard, and they'll pay a free kick.
Well, that just wasn't a good kick. It was designed to go to Cameron Cloak. But
Lindsay Thomas would like that hand pass back. Carlton are finishing all over the top of the Kangaroos, and given the Roos had worked so hard on their fitness since last October, they'll be very disappointed by this. Still time to turn it around. 18 points, 2 straight super goal kicks, and scores a level. Grant. Oh, Sainsbury looking a touch lethargic now. Onto it. Sinclair. Goes to midfield and, well, bisected Wells and Thomas. Found Scotland. He's got Stevens. Corralled by Riggio. Feeds Lappin. Back to Stevens. From super goal range, he lets fly. And just misses.
Just having a look at the young man with number 23 on Hartlett. He's just got to understand, you can't just stand there if you're less than 20 metres away. The blokes aren't going to chip kick it to you because it's play on. And he had a man behind him, so he couldn't even receive the handball.
The Kangaroos have not scored in the 19 minutes of this final quarter. They led by 13 when this term began.
They've very much dropped away. Certainly in the clearances has been one thing, but they're running out of defence. They've pushed numbers behind the ball, but they were good early in the game because they could run out and support, but they've had no one to support the ball carrier.
What a clever kick from Murphy. Didn't put enough on it to go out of bounds. Saw a couple of teammates were there. Bentic in the Favola direction. It's his night. It is his night. He's got 7 already, and he can look for number 8.
Well, it's his second half probably, Clinton. I reckon he's worked better in the second half. Ferretto was pretty good early, and
since he came back onto the ground after he was dragged,
probably a little bit of a rev, and got that free kick and just slotted one from outside 50, and he's gone on from there. He is a class act, and these are one of the few players you'd back in from outside 50 on more than a 45-degree angle.
That's
we just see him here. He's very deliberate. He walks in, last 2 or 3 steps are into a half a stride and kicks through the ball.
Not in doubt.
Number 8, Carlton, on the way to the grand final. Fev kicked 8 in the then Wizard Cup grand final of 04. A dozen in the Millennium game. So he gets some bags in the pre-season.
He certainly can kick a bag. And there's some full forwards from other clubs over the recent years, namely probably me, be looking to dish something like that off. I haven't got that sort of distance, and he is one of the finest kicks of the modern game.
The swagger of a man in form. Fev's got 8. Carlton have kicked the last 10 to turn a 37-point deficit into a 25-point lead. It has been a navy blue hurricane here on the Gold Coast. Inside of 5 minutes to play, the Roos still scoreless here in the final stanza. Carlton are playing all over the top of them.
This kid's been good. Really has been a compliment to the other forwards. He's got long arms. Seems to mark it above his height.
A lot to get excited about on the road to April 1st for Blues fans. Jared, will be seeing them in the season debut against the Tigers at the MCG.
Well, Loons is a fantastic opener. Right
Twilight,
now,
Sunday night.
the Blues have got everybody playing, and that's not the story for the Tigers. They've got a lot of work to do.
Pratt, caught. Wells hurries it away. Gibson on the end of it. Can go short to Harris.
Now he hasn't got any options forward.
Oh, look out. Might be setting Grant up. Get a boundary throw.
And that was exactly the case, that the Kangaroos players are out on their feet or don't want to run, and there was no player in front that was free to deliver the ball to. Too many Carlton defenders.
Straight up, guys. Eyes on
Moran's gone on to Kutafuti's in a tagging role.
Kangaroos have won the hitouts tonight by 4, but lost the clearances by 14.
You've got to say that Stevens has had an enormous night too. His work at the clearances, winning the hard footy, has been a great example.
He's up to 28 possessions. Lappin.
Oh, he's on fire, he's Big Fev.
Oh, can we go for number 9?
You would think so, the way he's kicking them at the moment. But the turnaround has been unbelievable, really. I mean, the running ability from the Kangaroos has dropped away. Also, the accountability through the midfield. There is no stoppage contact. There is no will to follow your opponent. And the game is opened right up.
1 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, looking for 3 in the last. Not this time.
Just started a little bit too far left. He usually kicks, it's either dead straight or with like a high fade, and that one just didn't come back far enough.
The margin is 26. Carlton have covered the goal spread and will host Brisbane at the Telstra Dome next Saturday night in the NAB Cup Grand Final. Wells away. But bereft of options long, has to hand pass it. It's a labour-intensive build-up. And Hanson blazes, and the Blues are there with Walker.
And the Blues will kick a goal here out of this defensive rebound.
Just looking at the numbers for the Kangaroo players. You've had Adam Simpson, as always, with big possessions, working really hard. Gibson, Sinclair. But after that, the other midfielders just have not seen enough of it in the second half.
Fisher behind.
Just juggled that one over the mark, over the line rather. But a good build-up, and we just saw players peel off the Carlton players forward of the ball. Just ability to finish off the game with their run.
Well, even now, the Kangaroos have clearly got blokes up the ground, but the Blues had two spares back into the defensive 50.
Simpson. His 20th possession, half of them contested balls won, going for Carazzo.
Next kick. Play on!
Coming up on 1 minute remaining. Good spoil by McIntosh. Staggering to think the Kangaroos have not scored in this final quarter. When they led at the last change, a hosting berth for the grand final up for grabs, throwing on the outer wing.
Don't think they've scored since halfway through the third quarter. They haven't looked like scoring, actually.
A remarkable transformation. You're right, their last score, 14-minute mark, third quarter, when they led by 37 points.
And then a cyclone hit called Favola.
Although the Roos might get something late. It's from Super Gold? No. Campbell on the line. 6-pointer only. Anticlimactic. Stern look in the coach's box.
Maybe really disappointed, Dean Ladley. It has been a long, hard summer. They've planned well for the NAB Cup, and they will think they've underachieved by falling at this final hurdle. But one thing they've got to do is get that kid onto their list, and the AFL just, to me, have got to find a way to get him on. A bloke retires, we'll find a way for a young bloke to get an opportunity.
Final half minute of this one, with the Blues leading by 21 points. Wyman forcing it out. Wells, Harris. Can they finish with 2 in a row? They might. Shannon Grant. Can he beat the siren this time? They do get 2 in a row. Well, that'll make it a little more respectable in the paper tomorrow. Carlton will host Brisbane in the NAB Cup Grand Final. This dramatic turnaround for the new generation Blues continues as they turn a 37-point deficit into a 15-point win, and they were fantastic.
There was a lot to like about Carlton. Early in the game, the Kangaroos looked good. They were prepared to run the ball. They probably even over-handballed the ball for most of the night. But Carlton, I just like O'Halpin at fullback and Jared Waiterson halfback.
Let's go down to Liam.
Well, we've got Brendan Favola, the star of the show. Brendan, 10 goals out of the last 12 and 10 in a row from the third quarter to the last quarter. What was the turnaround?
I don't know. We played probably 15 minutes there, and probably 5 minutes to go in the second half, and then the first probably 10 minutes of the third quarter, they just absolutely smashed us. We turned it over too much, and the rest of the game I thought we played pretty well and we were on top of them, but we put ourselves in that position a lot of times last year going in half-time, either in front or behind, and we usually get smashed, and we sat down and said it's not going to happen this year. And for all your supporters out there, get down to the grand final and hopefully we can pack the place out and win another one, which will be good.
You're back at home at Telstra Dome next week.
Yeah, it'll be great, so hopefully all the fans can get down there. It's it's only a pre-season premiership, but you don't get to play in grand finals that much, and all our young kids we've got in our team now to be a great experience, so look forward to it.
Well played, Fif.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Favola kicked 8. Betts and Murphy each with a couple, while for the Roos, Grant kicked 4, Archer kicked 3. Carlton versus Brisbane next Saturday night at the Dome.
And that's going to be a real challenge for both clubs. Brisbane were sensational yesterday. They played a very different brand of football at the Dome yesterday. Clinton, a lot of blokes back. They pushed forward with a lot of numbers. Alistair, and they'll be thrilled just to get any chance.
An enormous amount of passion. Both teams go into this game looking to get a lot out of it.
Great to have your company tonight. The Blues are off to the grand final. Good night from the Gold Coast.
This program brought to you by Harvey Norman.